Hi, my name's Tony Andrews, and I'm here today to talk a little bit about chemical addiction and tell my story about a little bit about what it was like and what happened and what my life is like now. Been a member of Redwood Church since, I'm going to guess, the early to mid 70s, and one of my very favorite and first recollections of the church was the Joy Bus that used to do community outreach, and we would go out and pick people up and bring them to church and take them back home. And I had a good upbringing here locally. My parents were part of the church, baptized here at the church by Charles Colston. Grew up in a family of roofers in the construction industry from a very young age. My philosophy was kind of always work hard, play hard. And there was some chemical addictions and alcoholism on both sides of my family. I considered it normal to drink on a daily basis, and it was kind of what I was shown as a kid. I remember my first drink. I was, I think, a sophomore in high school, and the first time I got drunk, I was on my way to school. I think it was around the holidays, and I met some kids on the way to school that had a whole bunch of alcohol, and we went up in a tree fort, and I drank I drank alcoholically from the very first time. I drank till I passed out, and I woke back up, and anything you gave me, I would drink till it was all gone. I would drink till I blacked out. It just progressed to a point where it got worse and worse and worse. And so after meeting my now wife, Julie, in about 1989, right after the earthquake, we got married in 1991, and we had our first daughter, Nicole. And a couple years later, we had our second daughter, Rachel. Alcohol really took away a lot from my family life as far as teachers, and I don't ever remember going to one science fair where I hadn't been drinking. It was kind of unfair to the children. Their friends asking them, why does your dad always smell like booze? They could never bring anyone home on the weekends. They never knew what to expect. There was always alcohol in the house, especially on the weekends. My drinking progressed to a point where it became a lot of fun at first, and then it was fun with some consequences, and then it was fun with more consequences. It progressed to a point where it was stopping by the bar after work for a few drinks and cocktails, to going by the liquor store first and then stopping by the bar almost every single day on the way home, and then making it home and continuing to drink almost on a daily basis. And it progressed to a point where I was in the grips of serious alcoholism until my sobriety date was the 3rd of July, almost 5 years ago. I got to a point where my body couldn't process the alcohol anymore, and I couldn't continue to drink, and I just couldn't stop drinking, and it got very dark for me, and I was contemplating suicide on a daily basis, and I had been thinking about that for a while, and it was like a dog chasing his tail. I couldn't get comfortable. If you asked me what was wrong, I didn't know. I couldn't go on, and I couldn't stop. I didn't want to continue, and I couldn't end it. On the 3rd of July, I had decided that I had had enough. There were some firearms involved, and I had decided to end my own life, and this happened in front of some family members. I woke up in the morning, I couldn't remember anything, and I knew I had hit a new low, and these people that witnessed this were going to remember this for the rest of their life, and I had to do something for myself to change. I asked God to help me. I wanted my family back. I wanted my life back. So after about a 4-day hangover, I ended up at a fellowship. Something kept telling me to go to this Eaton Avenue Fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous in San Carlos. And on a Friday night after a 10 o'clock meeting and then a 12 o'clock meeting, by now it's about 2:30 in the morning, I'm standing in the parking lot with some people with years of sobriety, and they're asking me some questions that I didn't want to answer. I knew it was time to just get honest with myself. Questions like, how's your family life? Well, it's pretty much over. I kind of lost everything. I'm right on the verge of maybe living in a cardboard box. I'm not unemployable, but unemployed. I've lost, right on the verge of losing everything I'd ever worked for. And I had to make some changes in my own life. I'd heard some stories. These people were alcoholics too, and I came to realize that maybe if they can do it, I can do it too. I come to realize that life didn't fall apart overnight, and it was going to take some time to maybe put it back together, if that was even at all possible. And I had been to AA before, but never really as drastic of measures as it was this time. My life depended on it this time. I got there by seconds and inches. So let's do the 12 steps then, and get honest with myself about these things, you know. Of course I was an alcoholic. I was almost to a point where I was proud of it. Are you willing to turn your life over to the care of God as you understand it, as they say, a higher power? Of course there's a God. I've been going to church my whole life. Of course I believe in God, you know. And then, well, why don't you ask Him for help with this thing called the third step prayer? Could it be that simple? Of course. What have I got to lose at this point? And asked Him, please help me. It was almost that simple. It might sound corny, but my life just continued to get better and better and better. So it went from a very, very dark place less than 5 years ago to a very, very happy family life. I put it all back together with a loving family, a loving God, and realizing that turning my will and my life over to God and trusting in Him completely, it changed my life. I just don't know what else to say. And giving credit to the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. Through prayer and meditation, asking God to help me and asking Him if there's something you need from me to let me know. And through meditation and calming my mind long enough to listen to what He's trying to tell me. I do a lot of H&I work and working with youngsters and letting them know that if they have ever developed a problem with drugs and alcohol, that there's a way out. And for me, it had gotten to a point where it just seemed so hopeless. It seemed like there was no way out. And it's very rewarding, giving back to the program. It's given so much to me. Also, I should mention that I was in a Bible study less than 5 years ago, and the minister asked me how come I hadn't given my life to Christ. And I said, actually, I have been baptized. I've been baptized Catholic. He mentioned to me that he thinks that was a decision that my parents had made, not a decision that I had made for my own life. And I said, I think you're absolutely right. I got rebaptized in the church less than 5 years ago, and my faith has grown immensely since then. I'm not perfect. I still make some mistakes. I have quite a few character defects, but it's a lot better than it used to be. Another way God did for me what I could not do for myself is through prayer. He has put me in touch with some other people to try and make an impact in their life and show them what He's done for me, and introducing them to Redwood Church and making some lifelong friends. If I can just say one thing, if I can reach just one person, if one thing comes out of my mouth today that one person will remember, if I can say something that's just going to help one person, if they should ever develop a problem with drugs and alcohol, that there is a way out. There is help out there. It seemed so hopeless for me. It seemed like there was no way out, and through the love of the Lord, it's made an incredible impact in my life.